praying, some thoughts comes, right? And of course, for me, thoughts always are there. So very hard to control my mind. so so when I was reading this prayer right now, I was just the thought was getting connected to what I heard recently, that we are like small waves. So in the like in the ocean, there are small waves, right? And then there are like big waves which comes, right? Like if you go to the ocean and people are waiting for those big waves, and then they just flow with that big wave, right? And those big waves are the ones which really pushes us to the shore. Now Guru is considered to be the big wave, right? We are all small waves. Of our own, we can't do much. We will be just like oscillating like this, like, okay, the life is just going on. When the Guru comes with his force, with the big wave, we are pushed to the shore towards Krishna. Okay. We are pushed towards Krishna. So Guru is a big wave. So Guru is very important. So just like when we are doing this prayer, we are always talking about Guru, right? Um, uh, that without Guru, we cannot do anything. So our sadhana bhakti means who is able to push our sadhana is Guru. And then it says like Srivasadi, Srivasadi, right? Like, so this is always talking about the devotee. Devotee also, the thought was coming on building on top of that. How devotees, because of our own, we are small waves. But when the devotee comes together, right? These all small waves, they become one big wave, right? And they all these waves pushes us towards Krishna. So it's very, that's the reason there is so much of emphasis on the Guru and the devotees. If we really want to move on this path, then we really need to do that. And but this is not only enough, right? This will help us to maintain the regulative principles and all those stuff. But what is really going to attract the mercy of the Lord? Because bhakti only comes by the Lord's mercy, right? We can only go that far. And we know while reading this Bhava chapter that we need the Lord's mercy. That's Suddha Sattva. And Lord mercy only comes through service. That only comes through service. Otherwise, the the pot is there. All the ingredients are put there, but there is no fire. A fire is so small that nothing is happening. Right? The food is never going to get cooked. And that's where the service is needed. Right? So we need to really focus that whatever service we are doing, how we can increase the quality of the service, how we can increase the quantity of the service without losing our sanity, right? Of course, because when we say sanity, in a way it is our insanity, because our life has become so busy, we think that I don't have time. But when you look at the exalted devotee, they're able to make all the time in the world, right? And when we look at our life, how we are able to, is even whatever small service we are doing, we are able to add it, right? Before it was not possible. And as we are adding, we're thinking, yeah, life is still going on. It's actually much better than before, right? So as we keep adding the service in our life, life will continue, right? But again, we shouldn't go and overdo anything, because if I am not ready and I try to pull the lot of weight, suddenly I will injure myself, right? And that will create problem. We don't want to get injured. We want to slowly do it, slowly build our muscle. Slowly we build our muscle, but we must build our muscle, because without doing that, the fire is not going to burn, right? So with, and today is Narsimha Chaturthi, and today in the morning class, Harivilas Maharaj was quoting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of his prayer, and I have to go back and look at that prayer again. Maybe it will be a good repository to add in our daily sadhana also. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is praying to Lord Nrsimhadev, asking, the essence here is asking that we are six ingredient of lust, right? Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, ignorance, right? We have six of these. Um, so this is six together, a group, as like whenever we say six lusts, like lust elements, these are the six things which is being talked about, because the doorkeeper is lust, right? Propensity to enjoy. So these six things. Then our kutinati. Kutinati is our duplicity. Um, we try to show something which we are not, right? And we say that it's very subtle. We think that I don't do that. But when we start observing our behavior, for example, let's say I know about a news, right? I know about the news that let's say somebody is leaving our Seattle congregation, and but when because I heard it from somebody else, but that when that devotee calls me on phone, I pretend I don't know. Oh, okay, okay, Mataji, I didn't know that you are leaving. Now that is duplicity. Okay, means I can say, yeah, I heard the other ways. I can say that, yeah, Mataji, yeah, oh, I heard about it. Thank you for letting me know. Means that's the other way. But when I ignore that fact, I mean that is duplicity, and these things comes in our behavior. So this is just an example. I was just trying to, because it is not that it's a very big cunning behavior, and it's very obvious. This is something which we have to really focus on, that where we are doing duplicity, because bad news. It's the bad news that we all have duplicity, my dear friends. And the reason is because we are here. We are born here. Our Acharya says that if each one of us has duplicity, it's very subtle. Initially, we don't see it. That's the reason it's called Kutinati, right? So it doesn't, like sometimes we externally we'll pull the dhoti, and inside like it is everything to just go and do balle balle, right? So it's just like that. Then the third thing, so three category, right? Lust, six, then kutinati, which is duplicity, and the third is pratishtha asha, the expectation that people should respect me. And this is subtlest of the all. And now again, if you think that, then I don't have that, but it is so subtle, right? And it takes time to go and dig, right? And so last time Mataji, Nikita Mataji shared that analogy uh, from one of the lecture, right? What she Mataji, what was that? It is the water which is Amog Lila Prabhu, yeah. Amog Lila Prabhu. It's a stagnant water that from the top is very stagnant, and looks it looks okay, and there's like green and bottom. But when you start shaking the water, then all this dirt start coming on the top. So initially we only see that, okay, maybe it's not even clear because the water is so deep. It just looks okay water, right? It just is stagnant. But when you start shaking it, it just all the dirt is coming. That's exactly what's happening. We don't If you don't see the duplicity, we don't see the pratisthasha. Just wait. That is like we have to keep working on ourselves. We are the work in progress. We have to keep working on ourselves, and we start seeing that, oh, Pratishtha Asha is there. And Pratishtha Asha is that thing which even last until Bhava. Okay. So it's so subtle. Okay. And this is not talking about the people who don't deserve to be respected. It is for the people who deserve to be respected, right? Somebody like at the Adhikari platform, they have been doing the seva for the 50 years, and they are exalted devotee. They don't show any tinge, but that inside means I have made it, right. Somebody should at least pay obeisance. They should acknowledge me that I am there, right. They should stand up when they see me, or they should stop doing or stop talking when they see me, right. And all those things are, somebody is doing prajalpa, right. If I see somebody, then I should stop, right. I shouldn't be doing the prajalpa because some exalted devotee is entered. But why that devotee should even think that, oh, I entered, so somebody should stop doing prajalpa, right. Of course, I may have may have compassion that I want it to be, that's the thing. But what they call it so subtle that there's just an expectation that when I enter the room, right, those things should go away. So that's pratishtha asha. So these three things, and then Bhakti Vinod Thakur is telling about these three things and saying to Narsimhadev, please take away these things, please help me to deal with these things, right. So our mood should be on this today, on Narsimha Chaturthi. It should be actually every day, right. This is a special day for Narsimha Dev, but every day is a special, right. In Krishna consciousness, every day is a special. So we should always pray to Narsimha Dev to protect us from this sixth covering of lust, Kutinati, and Pratishtha Asha. And we should work on this of our own with full determination. But the essence is we have to keep doing service, and we have to keep adding and increasing our service, the quality of the service, in a way that is not disrupting um, our sanity, right. So slowly build towards it. So that's the essence. So with that, let's start and share the class. Okay. All right. So last, so we have been reading to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Um, so first chapter, 17th chapter, like 131 to 24, which talks about what is Bhava Bhakti, right? What is Bhava Bhakti? Anybody can summarize what is Bhava Bhakti? In your own words, right? Isn't it not? I'm not looking for the definition. In your own words.
The awakening of the dormant love of God.
Wonderful. Very good. The and is Bhava Bhakti at the sadhana level platform or at the prema level platform?
At the Prema level platform.
Okay, so yes, actually, Bhava is actually its own platform. That's a trick question, right? So it's its own platform, right? So Bhava is one section, then the Prema is the other section, right? But of course,
So
it is
it's preliminary stage of Prema.
Yes, yes. So because at the level of bhava, still there's some anarthas, the subtle anarthas we are talking about is present, right? So it is. I'm starting. So one the devotee started getting the glimpse, right? Radha Rani mercy is also there, but still that person hasn't reached prema, right? But very soon they will reach prema. Very soon. Okay. So bhava is the goal of our devotional practice, sadhana. That is the other thing, right? So you see line here clearly. Bhava is the goal of devotional practice. So and and then what is this? Srila Prabhupada says that both sadhana and bhava are within the stage of regulative principle of devotional service. So this is so you see that this is kind of like a tathastha bhava. If you look at the tathastha, it is not sadhana nor it is sadhya, right? So but it is within the realm of the regulative principle of devotional service. What does it mean? That we have to maintain the regulation, all those things. So the regulative principle. So even at the person who is in the practitioner of bhava, it's not that they say that, oh, because I am following Raga Nuga, I am not going to follow the regulative principle. That's not what Prabhupada is saying, right? So anybody who who is at the bhava stage, they continue because they continue following the scriptures and everything, but their mood becomes more Raga Nuga. Okay, so from that, but somebody can also come from the practice of completely Valley sadhana bhakti, and they can continue. They can continue, but see, because the ruchi and all the ashakti, all those things are very much symptom of somebody who is got too attached. And when you get attached, you are in the mood of raganuga. So that's the reason why Prabhupada says that it is within the stage of regulative principle of devotional service. Okay, and then this was the definition of characteristic. We don't need to. It's like a ray of light, right? While the prema is the full light, full sunlight. Then Suddha Sattva we have talked about, right? This is only by the mercy of the Lord that one can get the bhava. So we can try all determination, everything, but our seva attracts Lord's mercy, and Lord's mercy comes through the agency of Radharani. Okay. And then, of course, what are some of the secondary characteristics? Softens the heart. It gives rise to various taste, and that's where we talked about the different sthai bhava and um, anubhava and all different things, right? And then, and here is the three kinds of taste which develops, right? So it talks about three category: prapti avilasha, desire to achieve Krishna; anukulya avilasha, desire to please Krishna with various services; and Sohadra Abhilasha, desire to close at heart with Krishna. Right? So Prapti to Soharda, Sohardya Abhilasha. Desire to achieve Krishna, desire to please Krishna with various services. This is increasing order, right? To the pretty close at heart with Krishna. Okay. So and then achieving bhava. Uh, two ways to achieve bhava: by ardent spiritual practice and by the special mercy of Krishna. For majority, 99.99%, it is by the practice, spiritual practice. There are few lucky ones who get just the direct mercy of Krishna by his devotees or his devotees. Right. So we covered all the examples also. Okay. Then bhava is attained through Vaidhi bhakti, bhava attained through raganuga. So there are two way to attain to two path, right? And this we talked about that is like a junction. So so nishtha is, you can think like it's a on this stage of bhakti. Nishtha is a junction stage. junction means the railways junction, right? Where the train, you can catch the train of different places. That's what I mean by the junction. So at Nishtha, you one can choose to go on the Raganuga side, or one can go to continue using the Vadi Sadhana Marg, right? So one can go to Bhava on from both the path. It's not that one is the only means one path is the only gate to the Bhava, right? Okay, and then so in the Raganuga, there was further elaboration, right? How to follow the Raganuga path, right? So we talked, and then the by mercy, right? Vachika by the verbal blessing, Darshana blessing by the appearing in person to a devotee, and by Hriday by heartfelt unspoken blessing. So three way one can get the blessing by the words, right? Somebody blesses, and Darshan Dana when the Lord appears in person, all right, and then by a heartful unspoken blessing. So just person blesses from the like we don't even know, the word is not even spoken, just from the inside that one can get um, that blessing. So there are three kind, and then and the further elaboration was there. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, darshan dana means is that appearance of the Lord or pure devotee like spiritual masters blessings or something.
Mataji, appearance of the Lord, Mataji. Yeah, so it says that devotee achieving mercy through the Lord's personal appearance.
Yeah, sure,
So
Prabhu.
okay, yeah, yeah, and so this was chapter 17 and chapter 18. Now we in the symptoms of bhava, right? What are the symptoms of how to know that somebody is experiencing bhava? So the main theme is, of course, getting this asta sattvika vikar, right? So these are the different kind of eight different kind of symptoms: the trembling of the body, the hair standing on end, the eyes pouring the a lot of tears, all different, right? um, all are but those are not the definitive symptoms. And why it is not a definitive symptoms, can anybody tell me?
Somebody can pretend Prabhu display of symptoms, or if somebody is in the presence of pure devotee, they can reflect in them.
Very good, very good. So yes, so I want to hear want to hear about that um, technical term, Mataji. If you can say, do you remember the technical term? There are two.
Pratibimba and chaya.
Very wonderful, wonderful, Mataji. Very good, very good. Yes, and which is the lower version between Pratibimba and Chaya?
Uh, Pratibimba Prabhu. So it just reflect on them without any endeavor from
So
them.
chaya. So when I say lower means is the lower experience. That's what I meant. So the question was not clear. So I don't know whether. So chaya. So chaya is just the what do you call the so reflection in the reflection. Um, there is still the more clarity. Of course, the image is little distorted because it's coming. It's not that not directly going in a straight line. The light, right? It's just reflecting. So it's not a complete, but in the chaya is the shadow, so it's not even clear. There's just an idea that there's that I am getting that. So with the pratibimba, it is only when one is coming in contact with the pure devotee, right? Then so through their reflection one can experience those satvika vikar, and it may even last for few days. So one shouldn't think that, oh, I am at the bhava stage. So ultimately the whole purpose of the discussion is that this chapter then describes the 9 different symptoms which are very particular for bhava, right? So that's what we have been discussing. So 9 reliable symptoms, right?
So Prabhu, so that means the experience from in Pratibimba stage, the symptoms are more intense than Chaya stage.
Yes, Mataji, yes, you are right. Chaya is lighter version, and those lighter version can happen. So example which I can recollect what we read is that, let's say you are visiting the you are visiting Vrindavan or Mayapur, and suddenly you feel that, your heart becomes more softer, and you feel like more you want to do more japa, and the things become much easier and all those stuff. So that's like a chaya, like those can be, it's not, so that is not the only thing, but you can see if that is leading to the person experiencing a lot of, feeling of bliss, right? Again, those asatvika vikar, like some symptom of satvika vikar, where the tears are flowing and you can't explain why the tears are flowing, right? So those will qualify in that, right, in the chaya, right? But in the pratibimba there is a direct contact, it's a more intense than the chaya. Makes sense,
Yeah,
Mataji?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Prabhu.
Okay. Wonderful. So one thing I remember. So when our Maharaj was that time, he was not our Guru Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He was here for the book signing in 2016 or around that time, and I think, yeah, 2016, just it was before our initiation, and we are standing in line, and we had gone to meet him, getting the book signed, and uh, my wife Nandarani, she couldn't stop her tears. It was just continuously flowing, and she doesn't have any explanation why it was flowing. It was just flowing. It was just flowing, just like this, full of tears, full of tears. It was very visible, like she can't even hide it. It was just so fast and furious. And now, while I'm just talking, I'm just thinking it could be maybe a chaya. It could be a chaya, or because or something like that. So, Nandarani, do you remember? She
Yeah, I
cannot.
cannot
Yeah,
forget that.
yeah. So, yes. So, what were your feelings? It was just, was it just the tears, or you were having some other feelings also?
I don't know. I mean, no feelings as such, but I don't know.
Mhm,
It just felt like I just felt like continuing to cry.
mhm, mhm,
So when even Maharaj was doing kirtan before the book
mhm,
signing, even at that
mhm,
time, it felt like okay. First of all, like his voice was is so uh, I don't know. I don't have words to explain his voice when he does kirtan, but I don't know. It started from there, and then after that, even after he stopped kirtan, and when we were in the line, I just felt like uh, I kept crying, and even when he was signing our book, I was looking at him and I was just crying incessantly. I don't know what feelings I was having.
mhm. So it's very much. I would say definitely means. Of course, it's not proper for us to categorize. But I think if it was anything, it was just chaya, because in the case of the pratibimba, the symptoms may last for few days also. Okay, so and that's where the people get little bit more confused. Chaya is like, okay, it's very transient. It happens when we are coming in contact with the pure devotee, exalted devotee. So 9 reliable symptoms. So this is what we are going through in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But let's quickly summarize here. So utilization of time. So this is the nishtha phase, right? Utilization of time. We don't want to waste any single moment. Okay. Then remain tolerant and patient, even amid great disturbance. So the thing is, I can be tolerant and patient, but everything is good. Then oh, tolerant and patient is good, but it is a difficult situation. It's a very difficult situation. My services are falling apart. My material life is falling apart. And then, am I still tolerant? So that is the test. That is the test. Right. So you'll see that devotee getting caught up in a lot of controversy where the whole sadhana can be questioned. It can happen. Right. Are they still able to preserve during that time? Are they still able to preserve that during that time? So that's the one. Okay, virakti, detachment, right? So when we talked about detachment is not same as the word. What was the word I had used? Uh, Aversion.
Affection
Okay,
and
aversion. Detachment is not same as aversion. So aversion is at the level of attachment. So just like I'm attached to something, I can be very averse to something. Both are the same thing. I hate something, I love something. Both are on the same material platform, but not having detachment means not having attachment. I know I like the thing, but I'm not attached to it. I dislike the thing, but I don't hate it. Right? So that's the thing what is being talked about. So basically, that's where one is above the level of sense gratification. And pridelessness, one feels humble even though he's extremely elevated. And this pridelessness, again, there are the symptoms of pridelessness, right? How one humility is very hard to define, right? What is humbleness? Is it just saying Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare, and I'm bending down, Hari Bol Prabhu, Hari Bol? Is that humbleness or something more to it? What do you have to say? Can any of you describe in your mind what does humbleness really mean? What do you think?
You should really mean it, Prabhu, just not for the show.
Mm-hmm. And what can be some other symptoms, Mataji?
Prabhu, for me, whenever I remember humbleness, I remember Radhanath Maharaj. Uh,
Okay,
because
okay,
when we met him for the first time, when we bowed down to him, he did the same, and we were like amazed and uh, yeah, so, some emotions that can't be explained. Like so much respect for everyone. We are like nobody, but still, yeah. So yeah, for me, humbleness is Radhanath Maharaj.
okay. Good, good. Okay. Anybody else has anything about the humbleness?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Very good.
I think there is a one more definition of humbleness I heard from Haridas Maharaj when he asked the question of what is humility to Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, uh, you're humble when you're completely dependent on Krishna and nothing else.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That's what I wanted to hear. That's what I wanted to hear. So the humbleness is the feeling where I feel there's no one can protect me other than Krishna. Complete shelter to Krishna. And then the kind of feeling that comes from there, that's called humbleness. And I cannot explain it because I don't have it. Right. So it's very theoretical for me. Right. But the humbleness, once I have surrendered to Krishna, where I think that nothing can protect me. Right. Everything is for Krishna. Like so, and how that will happen. If we start picking up the, let's say, some kind of a service or some kind of a work which seems that it is impossible, and still, like a madman, if I take that, no, I will do it, and I am really serious and I really do it, I fall down, I cry, and then I get beaten up, right? And still I am continuing. That maybe that will mean that I have taken shelter of Krishna, right? So it's a stage I think we need to talk about. Still, if anytime I hear the lecture, I really want to hold that person and ask, please describe me what humbleness really feels like. It is not, hasn't become practical to me. I know these theoretical answers, so that's the reason I was asking that. Means about humbleness feels like. Okay, moving to next one, 5. Hope against hope, asa banda, firm faith that Krishna will deliver one to the highest perfection. So I think, so the humbleness and asa banda, it seems like related based on our definition from Prabhupada, right? Even though one is feels low and utterly unqualified to achieve its own. So firm faith that Krishna will deliver one to the highest perfection, right? So fallen or the fallen, but still think that Krishna is going to take care of. Krishna will take care. Sorry, I'm getting a call. Okay, so my mother is calling. Good, can you take call, mommy?
Yeah, I will call.
Okay, okay, just call her. Sorry, yeah. So, so okay. Sorry, I got distracted. So these are like I hear lecture from Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. So many trouble, right? Like the Zoom call is not working and the voice is not good. He will connect, and he'll start from there where he left. No sentence about, oh, the call was bad. Like his thought is not losing train of thought. He will just pick just like that, zoop, zoop, like I just get amazed like how he can do that, because I get distracted. Like one call, I get distracted. One other thought which goes in my mind, I get distracted. So it's miserable state. So so in so asa banda is I am perfectly means I am perfectly means utterly unqualified, but I think Krishna's mercy will take me far. So that belief in Krishna, right? That's kind of a surrender, complete surrender to Krishna. That Krishna mercy is going to come, and Krishna mercy comes. So we are studying Mana Shiksha, and Mana Shiksha, uh, of course, uh, the devotee coming into the in one's life, right, helping us out. But then the question gets asked uh, by uh, by the author: what if you live in a jungle or in a situation where there is no devotee? What's going to happen to you? Do you don't have any way to go back to Godhead because you are in a situation where there is no devotee to help you out? Do you know what the answer is? This one: Lord's mercy. It's still Lord, because see, it is only by the Lord's mercy, the devotees are coming in our life. For some reason, if the devotees are not there, one should continue with the intense sadhana, because there is a firm faith that the Lord mercy is going to protect me, whether in the shape of a devotee or not devotee. Lord's mercy is going to protect us. That's asabandha. Okay, and intent. And then the sixth is intense eagerness for achieving pure loving service. Okay, so that's eagerness has to be there. I really want pure loving service, whatever it takes. Constant attraction of chanting Hare Krishna. So these devotees are constantly chanting, right? Just like Haridas Thakur, who will be chanting so many rounds. And then addiction to glorifying Krishna's quality. So they won't talk anything other than glorifying Krishna. Nothing. No prajalpa, that who came yesterday, what was something in the service, even if it is. So today in the morning, me and Nandrani was talking. Half an hour we talked when I came from service. It was all about devotee and the service and this and that. But in a way, that was, if it is not a glorification of the Lord, I think it's prajalpa. So I told Nandrani, and then I think we were doing prajalpa. I think, right? So it was not that we are criticizing anyone. Like we're just talking about the service, what's the state of affair and what's happening and what did. But there has to be the glorification of the Lord. The rest, everything is a waste of time, right? And love for living in Lord's dham, right? The intense desire that we have to live in Lord's dham, and the description was that it's not physical. The more important than the physical is the mental model. That am I always living? My mental model is always living in the Lord's dham or not? So we should try to repeat it. I also don't remember it. If you ask me, I will fumble. I will probably remember few. So I think again we'll try to repeat it a couple of more times. Maybe that will help us all to remember these things. Okay. So utilization of time, then able to tolerate as much as we can. These two things. What else? See, my mind. I'm closing my eyes. I'm not reading. But still, my mind is struggling. That what did I what I said. Um, right. Anyway, I won't even try. Okay. So detachment, pridelessness, hope against hope, intense eagerness for achieving pure loving, constant attraction to chanting Hare Krishna, addiction to glorifying Krishna's quality, love for living in the Lord's Dham. All right. So aesthetic symptom in neophyte or non-devotee. So this is where the reflection, right? Pratibimba abhas, and then chaya rati abhas. These things we talked about, which we already discussed, and transforming rati abhas into genuine bhava. Okay, so that's the discussion which happened, and apparently causeless bhava. This is the who apparently has not undergone serious devotional practice suddenly manifests symptom of ecstasy. One should not automatically assume that he's pretending or exhibiting one of the variety of ratiya bhasa, because this can be a genuine. So where they left in their last life, suddenly it will start manifesting. So it's again, so it is the warning from the other side also. So one is, don't think that, oh, I am in, but don't try to judge others. So main thing is, don't judge others. Let's try to be strict on ourselves. Let's not try to judge others whether somebody is faking or not faking. Why you should bother, right? So we should only be very respectful to that any devotee or anyone for that matter, because everybody is part and parcel of the Lord. We don't follow them. Um, if we don't need to, right? If we see that that somebody can take this statement that, oh, Prabhu, you are saying that we should follow, and then I have a neighbor who is eating meat and doing everything, an abominable thing. I shouldn't be following, right? I'm respectful. Okay, Krishna is in his heart, and let Krishna guide him. So I'm respectful, but I'm not following. So that's what I mean. Okay, so this was what we talked, right? Now moving to the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So any question? Okay. And here what I was really appreciating when I was reading this last time, I also said that the one-liner definition of like everything, confidence is defined as follows. Confidence means firm assumption that one will attain the Lord. That is called confidence. So if you guys don't mind, if anybody would like to, because I want to do it, I'm not getting time. In case, I know you all are busy, but I'm just putting it anyway. In case you have time, if you can take these one line definition and put like for these 9 symptoms, what are these one line definitions are, and then the example. It goes line definition and then example. If anybody would like you like to do and then share with the class, that would be a great service. So see if anybody would you like to do. Okay, and if not, probably I'll see when I'll get the time. I'll definitely. This is something worth reading and rereading, right? With this one line definition. Detachment is illustrated like so. This is the detachment, right? Detachment is defined as having a natural distaste for the object of the senses. That detachment, having a natural distaste. It's not that we hate; it's a natural distaste. And our the biggest taste what we have is for the opposite sex. That is the that is our the reality. So and natural distaste doesn't mean that we start you know pretending that I don't know my spouse, right? Am I thinking my spouse as a devotee, respecting from that perspective, living in that perspective, or just still behaving my spouse that he or she is the order supplier? I say something and he or she has to do and all those stuff. So um, physical connection and so that's what it is. So anyway, so you see the definitions. So nice definitions. Pridelessness, in spite of having a high position, remaining humble. Right. So that's pridelessness. Of confidence from assumption that one will attain the Lord. Then the example, and then 36. Longing means having intense greed for attaining service to the Lord. Right. Intense greed. And taste for chanting. Today the young girl was a sweet voice whose lotus eyes were streaming with tears of honey, singing your names. So that's the kind of the mood is that one cannot even stop. Like it's like the best song, the best thing in the life, right? And that is compared with the young girl, right? It's because the young girl is always thinking about the young boy she loves, right? And she's crying like the girls are anyway very emotional, right? So with that great emotions, the girl is thinking it is like a vipralamba, right? So that's what it really means. Vipralamba. It's not that the girl has a boy to touch and hold, right? So that's the okay. And 40 example of attachment should be okay. That Rati appears in person having desire for enjoyment or liberation. Those persons do not perform pure bhakti. Rati is sought out by those liberated from all desire and not given immediately by Krishna, even to the devotee, since it is most secret. That's the reason it takes time to develop the Rati. Then the Chaya were discussed. What is Chaya? Those the semblance of Rati is very astounding to the innocent. Those in the knowledge understand what it really is by seeing the character. This is called Rati Abhas. Knowledge understand what it really is by seeing the characteristic. This semblance of Rati has two types, reflection and chaya, splendor. And then it was Pratibamba, when there are apparent qualities of Rati. So let's read it because this will differentiate, right? When there are apparent qualities of Rati, accompanied by desires for enjoyment and liberation. So it's still, so this is very good, right? So we didn't talk about it when we were discussing. There is an apparent desire for enjoyment and liberation. So only a person who is experiencing it will know that what they are. If I know that I'm experiencing all those stuff and I know that deep in my heart, still I have little desire of enjoyment. Okay, that oh, how is my spouse? Because most people, why I'm bringing a spouse, many times, at least I know from for me, I, I can disregard myself, right? But then because I love my spouse, I love my child, there's a little thing that okay, are they okay? Are they this? Are they that? Right? So that's I think that falls into the enjoyment because of course taking care is not enjoyment, but there is I know for sure that for me it is definitely an enjoyment because I know where I belong to, right? So So this is a very good test, I think. It is called Pratibimba. Awards the goals. So this is so powerful. It awards the goal of enjoyment and liberation to those person without having to exert effort. So one who start getting Pratibimba means they have got cleansed enough cleansing has happened that even if they desire a little bit, oh, why I'm having this problem, my house is broken and all, Lord will without much problem, one will get a house or something like that, right? The some magic will happen in their life. So it's so powerful. And then the reflection of the moon bhava appears in the heart of some person. Okay, so this is real devotees. Okay, so how occasional association with real devotees. Okay, so this is chaya, occasional association with real devotees. Those things can happen. And then 49. This is where we have to start from. So 49, the splendorous type of semblance of bhava is now described. This is chaya abhas is being described. First, the above was the symptom. So let's read that. What was the symptom? This reflection of the moon of bhava appears in the heart of some person who are attached to enjoyment or liberation, but who became somewhat satisfied by following the angas of bhakti through occasional association with real devotees. That moon of bhava is situated in the sky of the real devotee's heart, and it appears as a reflection in non-devotee for some time by its impression. So this is an explanation of the pratibimba bhas. Okay, sorry. Now it's a chaya. The splendorous type of semblance of bhava is now described. That which has some similarity to real rati, which possesses a small amount of interest in the Lord, which is unstable, which destroys suffering, is called chaya rati abhas. So there are three parts to it, which has some similarity to real rati, that we know, right? Then which possesses a small amount of interest in the Lord. So there is an interest in the Lord, right? It's not that a person on the road who doesn't have any interest and they are having this. And we hear all those people also. Those are like very external symptoms. People are trying to pretend or all, right? So that's what I would qualify, which possesses a small amount of interest in the Lord, and which is unstable. But this interest is unstable. If I am at Vrindavan, I have all the interest and it's a genuine interest. But I am outside Vrindavan, I'm at Lucknow, my hometown, and then I'm going doing the same old, right? So that's and which destroys suffering is called. So this um, characteristic, this also destroys suffering. So there will be destruction of suffering. So both this chaya and pratibimba are powerful enough to help a person, the practitioner, in some way in the material life. So what is mentioned is in the chaya it destroys suffering, but in the case of pratibimba actually it there is a uh, the desire gets fulfilled. So in this case saying it destroys suffering, right? It doesn't say that it will fulfill my other desire, but at least it destroys my current suffering. In other, like I'm all my desires are also getting fulfilled. So I suppose that's the okay, sorry, I forgot reading the. So here the word chaya means beauty or splendor. Uh, Chaya means the wife of the sun. Okay, Chaya means the wife of the sun, a splendor, reflection and shade. Here it also means a reflection of or resemblance to beauty. This verse describes this Chaya Rati Abhas, taking into account the meaning of Chaya as resemblance to beauty, in combination with the word Abhash. Little interest means that though the Lord and Bhakti are spiritual, the person has interest in them only as material object. Okay, so person has interest. So at least the taste has the person's taste has shifted from the bad thing to the good thing, but still it's a material. Oh, I have bhakti. Oh, I really love Lord, and and there is genuine thing, but it is they are thinking is a more of the material thing. Oh, so they say spiritualistic, but they are very ritualistic. Thing like that. Because there is curiosity relating to the Lord. Even though material, there is an appearance of a little splendor. That is the meaning of Chaya here. Because of the slight attraction to the Lord, there will be slight symptoms similar to those of real Rati. However, because of its nature as Chaya, it is also unsteady. Unlike the Pratibimba Rati Abhas. So Pratibimba Rati Abhas lasts for a few days. In Pratibimba Rati Abhas, the attraction to material enjoyment and liberation is very strong, but in Chaya Rati Abhas, the material curiosity about the Lord is transient. Okay, so here there is just a material curiosity, like the material curiosity about the Lord is. So There is a so first of all, whatever the curiosity one has is from coming from the material realm, and that too it is transient. Still, because of the influence of the Lord in Chaya Rati Abhas, there is gradually a destruction of the suffering of material existence. One should not say this type does not fit within the general category of Rati Abhas because it lacks desire for enjoyment and liberation. It is classed at Rati Abhas because material curiosity is a form of enjoyment as well. So I'll repeat it. One should not say this type does not fit within the general category of Rati Abhas because it lacks desire for enjoyment and liberation, because that was the definition of the Rati Abhas before describing the Pratibimba, right? That there is a desire for enjoyment and liberation. So that's what it's being argued here. It is classed as Rati Abhas because material curiosity is a form of enjoyment as well. Okay, so in this case, in talk about enjoyment and liberation, and here he's saying that it's talk about a material curiosity, but the material curiosity is also a form of enjoyment as well. So that's the reason it is also in the category of Rati Abhas. As well, it does not overlap with Pratibimba Rati Abhas, though both types have desire for enjoyment, because Chaya is connected with only a curiosity about the Lord, whereas Pratibimba has a strong commitment to material enjoyment or liberation. So very clear definition here. The difference, sorry. So if you're confused, just let's reread it. As well, it does not overlap with Pratibimba Ratyabhas, though both types have desire for enjoyment. So this is a similarity. Because Chaya is connected with only a curiosity about the Lord, whereas Pratibimba has a strong commitment, but is coming from the point of view of the material enjoyment or liberation. Right? So there is a complete focus on the Lord, right? But there's a I want to fulfill a desire, right? So I'm approaching it's a Mishra Bhakti. So Mishra Bhakti uh, will can have these kind of experience, right? So that's the good way to think, I think. 51. This Chaya Rati Abhas appears sometimes even in ignorant people by a combination of performing actions dear to the Lord, observing the festival of the Lord, residing in the Dhama of the Lord, and associating with the devotee of the Lord. Even this Chaya Rati Abhas, which eventually bestows auspicious to those people, appears only with great good fortune. Okay, so this Chaya Abhas is not something will everybody will get it, right? It is with a great fortune. And what are the conditions under which it can happen? This Chayarati Abhas appears sometimes even in ignorant people. So anybody, Tom and uh, Tom, Dick and Harry, what we say, right? To any person by a combination of performing actions dear to the Lord. The actions which are dear to the Lord. What are the action dear to the Lord? Observing the festival of the Lord. That's the reason we invite people. Oh, come to the festival. Come to the festival. Now you know that this organization of events and festival how it helps residing in the Dhama of the Lord. So this is the discussion we are having that I go to Vrindavan, I start having those kind of a symptom and associating with the devotees of the Lord. Again, association with the devotees is the Lord is just like staying in the Dhama because the effect in the Dhama is association of devotees. Of course, is the pastime of the Lord, but the most of the effect is coming because they are devotee we are associating with. The mood of the Dham is due to the devotee. Even this Chaya Rati Avas, which eventually bestows auspiciousness to these people, appears only with great fortune. There should be simultaneous participation in the items listed, performing action dear to the Lord, observing the festival of the Lord, residing in the Dhamma of the Lord, and associating with the devotee of the Lord in order for Chaya Rati Avas to manifest in ignorant people. So simultaneous participation in the item listed. So what Jiva Goswami is telling that one may not lead to this Chaya Rati Avas. This all things may be simultaneously is happening. So this is the Acharya saying. Performing actions to action, I'm performing the action dear to the Lord, and so basically this is happening in the festival of the Lord, and I'm performing something. Maybe I'm brooming the Rath Yatra, and I'm brooming, right? I'm ignorant person. Sorry, I'm residing in, and then I'm in the residing in the Dhama. So I may be in Seattle, but the mood of, let's say, if the Rath Yatra is such, is very which brings the which brings the, let's say, Puri mood, right? Jagannath Puri mood. And then we are assuming the devotees also. So all these symptoms with all these four combinations together will lead to Rati Abhas in ignorant people. Because of association with devotees, festival and other item, this rati is sometimes seen even in ignorant person who have no good qualities such as tolerance and have no desire to extinguish samsara. Wow. So this is very interesting, you know. Without naming, today I met a um, let me call it devotee aspirant. Okay. She is the Shiv Bhakta, and that I have no problem with that, Shivites and all. And she was talking, and I was just telling that she was asking question, and I was telling that, have you done discover yourself and all. She was telling, Prabhu, I don't have time. I work at Microsoft. I said, I also work at 20 years for Microsoft. Um, you can find time and all. I said, no, Prabhu, I want to enjoy. I really want to enjoy. So now I'm, because we had just have a short discussion. Um, so you see, and but she was showing some very good quality of a devotee. She was telling that when there was a COVID time, and she couldn't even eat food because she read the story that there are people on the street in India who couldn't feed themselves because they have been quarantined, and there's nobody, and they are just dying. And the old lady, she is the story she was describing. She was telling that I'm not going to go, even before I die of COVID, I'm going to die with of hunger. Right? And those are real case. And when she heard those things, she had such a big impact that she thought that I have to do something. Otherwise, just a waste of time. And she like looking for the opportunity where she can do. And then even she found this our temple opportunity, she picked the service which is related with the food truck. Right? So so she has a very genuine, I think, compassion for the devotee. But she's like 10 foot like pole she's carrying. It seems that I want to enjoy, because she's thinking that if I get into this, probably I cannot enjoy, right? This is what is talking about. Because of association with devotee festival and other items, this rati is sometimes seen even in ignorant person who have no good qualities such as tolerance and have no desire to extinguish samsara. So this is where I brought this story, because it seems that she have no desire to extinguish samsara. So yeah, let me enjoy. But even to these ignorant people, the Lord is so merciful that the heart is very soft, right? And they may show some symptoms of a I don't want to use the word exalted, of a more experienced devotee, I would say. Okay, 52, 53. By the great mercy of a dear devotee of the Lord, the semblance of bhava suddenly becomes real bhava. Okay, so see now, by the great mercy of a dear devotee of the Lord, the semblance of bhava suddenly becomes real bhava. By offending that devotee, even the best bhava bhasha gradually wanes, just as the full moon in the sky gradually wanes. So it is talking about both the ways. So this rati abhas can convert into the real bhava by coming in, by getting the mercy of the devotee of the Lord, right? So by the mercy of the Lord, devotee, this person will develop the real taste, right? Of course, this person was initially experiencing the chaya bas, the tear was flowing and all, but then he got mercy, right? The mercy can be coming from the heart, by the vani, or right. So those three different category we talked about, right? So mainly in case of the devotee, it's only two category, because it's a Lord appearance, right? That was the third one, was a Lord appearance. So one is by saying like Narad Muni blessing, or the other one is just from the heart, like a parent blesses their kid from the heart. They are not always telling this, but they are blessing. Okay, good job, right? So with these two things, one can develop the real interest, the real rati in the Lord, and they can start getting the real bhava. On the contrary, the same person, by if let's say I am experiencing bhava, I am even at elevated position, which I'm not. Even if I am that, then what will happen? One will lose the whatever the taste they have by offending the Vaishnava. So Vaishnava aparadha is pretty big. Moreover, it should be stated, by an offense against the dearest devotee of the Lord, even real bhava will be destroyed if the offense is grave. By an offense against the dearest devotee of the Lord, even real bhava will be destroyed if the offense is grave. So just the further explanation of the previous verse. If the offense is medium, the bhava will turn to bhava bhasha, bhav abhasha, bhav abhasha. Okay, so it becomes the rati. So it becomes rati. From the real, it becomes rati. If the offense is slight, the bhava will become an inferior type. Okay, so the bhava, the intensity of the bhava will decrease if it's the slight offense. If it is a medium type, then it will convert to the rati bhav, rati abhash, sorry, and it is serious, then the bhava will get destroyed. By two types of grave offenses: offense to the dearest devotee or to Krishna himself. So what are offenses? Offense to the dearest devotee or to the Krishna himself. Even real bhava is destroyed. By medium offense, bhava becomes bhava abhash. By slight offense, the bhava degrades in categories. Becoming an inferior type means that there will be degradation in terms of the five rasas and the 8 stages from mahabhava to rati. So degradation in both, right? So five rasas, whatever the one in the bhava, one experience the sthai bhava. So what is the sthai bhava? These five rasas are the category of a sthai bhava, right? So that's what it is talking about. And the 8 stages from mahabhava to rati. So these are advanced stages, right? After the prema, these 8 stages starts. So those are the one is in the case of the one who is in bhava, they are experiencing these. So this will diminish. Thus, change in bhava will take place according to the seriousness of the offense. Bhava will be okay, will be destroyed by aparadha to a dear devotee of Krishna. An example is Dvivida, the monkey. Dvivida the monkey, a follower of Rama. By aparadha to Lakshman, his bhava disappeared. By medium aparadha, bhava becomes bhava avas. If the aparadha is slight, the bhava changes type. Madhurya rati becomes dasya rati. Dasya rati becomes santa rati. So this is the other one, right? So how if somebody is madhurya, then how they become they are focusing on to become a dasya. So okay. 55. By intimate association with a person who strongly desires impersonal liberation, real bhava becomes bhava abhash or becomes worship of the self as the Lord. So by intimate association with a person who strongly desires, so that's the reason we have to be very careful who we associate with. So if we are associated with the impersonalist, then what happens? The real bhava becomes bhava avas or becomes worship of the self as the Lord,
So,
which is
Prabhu, Bhava and Bhava Abhasha are two different categories, Prabhu.
yes, Mataji. Yeah, bhava is the real thing, right? It is the ray of
Mhm.
light. And bhava bhasha, the way it to understand is just like a rati bhav. Like so it is degrading to a stage that it is not the real bhava anymore. Right? It's abhash. Right? That's how I'm inferring it. And
Here
based on the yeah, go ahead.
it mentions like Bhava Abhasha becomes worship of the self as the Lord.
Yeah. So this is who worship the self as the Lord.
Okay, Prabhu.
So this is impersonalist, right? They say that, oh, I have become God. That's the
Yes,
impersonalist thing, right? So that's
yes,
exactly
Prabhu.
what is,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's what is happening. So, so here, what Jiv Goswami is saying that bhaj, bhajani isya bhavatam means identifying oneself as the Lord, who is the actual object of worship. Bhava for the Lord becomes worship of the self. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur commentary: by intimate association with a person desiring liberation who is fixed in that philosophy and who uses logic from Jnana scriptures, which establishes the superiority of liberation over everything else, real bhava becomes bhava avash. Alternatively, he identifies himself with the Lord who is worthy of worship, thus becomes self worship. This further explanation, Chaitanya Mataji. Alternative, he identifies himself with the Lord, right? Who is worthy of worship. Like, so they think that they are also worthy of worship, and this becomes self worship.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. More explanation.
Yeah.
Prabhu, the word abhas itself means impression.
Im-
So it's just an impression of bhav. Uh,
yes, absolutely, Mataji. Absolutely. Very similar to Rati. Yes. It is seen, 56, it is seen sometimes that new devotees, absorbed in the goals of different types of liberation, identify themselves with the Lord momentarily during dancing or other acts of devotion. It is seen sometimes that new devotees, absorbed in the goals of different types of liberation, identify themselves with the Lord momentarily during dancing or other acts of devotion. Like they are thinking that, oh, they are with the Lord, right? I have heard that some devotees saying that, oh, I had a dream that I'm in the Ras Leela and all. Like they're thinking that they have got to the exalted position, right? And that's where the mind is playing the trick. So I've heard that some senior devotee asking that if you have this like a kind of a dream, do you think that you have become this? And like such, like they were not very happy that why anybody would think they are getting these small symptoms and they are thinking that they are at the highest stage. uh, Shanam, shanam for a moment is only Chanam. Okay, Shanam means for a moment. Chan is only a representative term. It implies as well that the attempt to identify oneself as the Lord may last for a long time. Mukti Pakshagah means that those who are absorbed in the goals of Sarupya, Saristi, and Samipya. 57. Bhava sometimes appears suddenly in a person without performance of sadhana or mercy and without scriptural knowledge. It should be inferred that in a previous life some obstacle interrupted that person's skillful sadhana, and in this life the obstacle has finally been removed. So this suddenly, that's the reason why somebody starts showing that symptom coming from the previous life. Sadhana refers to all the causes of bhava. Sadhana bhakti, the mercy of Krishna, and the mercy of the devotee. So that we know that sadhana bhakti is the mercy of the Krishna and the mercy of the devotee. Iksha refers to the knowledge gained through scriptures. Sometimes bhava appears suddenly without knowledge of scriptures and without sadhana or mercy of Krishna or the mercy of devotee. It is seen and verified to be real bhava. One should then infer sadhana from a previous life, as in the case of Vritasura and others. 58. That bhava which is more amazing than anything in this world, which gives all powers and which is very deep, is caused by the mercy of Krishna. So that bhava which is more amazing than anything in this world, which gives all powers and which is very deep, is caused by the mercies of the Krishna. And why it is saying? Because the context is that this person is not performing, one at least hasn't observed this person performing the deep sadhana, right? But still that person is so exalted because they are showing all these symptoms. So it is all those things are coming from the um, previous life, right? Um, so that's the one. So, oh, sorry, it's caused by the mercy of Krishna. So if let's say in some cases, if it can be said it is caused by the mercy of the Krishna. Previously in verse 1.36, three causes of bhava were mentioned: sadhana, mercy of the Lord, and the mercy of the devotee. Now, bhava arising due to the sadhana in previous life has just been mentioned. Which of these is the best? Hinting at examples such as Putana, the author says that the bhava caused by the mercy of Krishna is the best. Okay, so bhava caused by the mercy of Krishna is the best. Naturally, mercy of the Lord. If some apparent fault is seen in a person who has developed real bhava, one should not be hostile to him because he has accomplished the goal in all respect. So, if some apparent fault is seen, and this is where can you remember the books or reference where this is commented on or talked about? Where it says that we shouldn't really judge people,
Nectar of
devotees.
instruction, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, nectar of instruction, right? After doing the association in verse 6 or 7, it's 7, I think it says that, yeah, the We shouldn't judge the devotee based on the external symptoms. They may have this apparent fault, but they are still exalted if they are showing other symptoms, because this will continue until even at the bhava stage, right? There may be some external bad conduct, but one should not be hostile to him, because by having bhava, the person cannot be contaminated by those external actions. Thus it is said, whether one is pure or contaminated, and regardless of one's external situation, simply by remembering the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, one can cleanse one's internal and external existence. This person cannot be criticized because he has accomplished the goal. He has attained bhava. So by, we say, by hook or crook, right? And I'm not saying that by crook somebody will get to bhava, but what is telling that is Lord's mercy from the previous life. It can be so many things, right? And that person is showing some bad qualities. Still, one shouldn't judge or criticize, because that person has achieved real bhava. And these are the things only, the who can who can identify that whether the person is having the real bhava or ati bhava or what's happening. Who can do that?
A pure devotee who has
Yes,
achieved that.
yes, Mataji, absolutely. Only the person who has achieved it, they like a good ved, right? Like a good doctor, they can diagnose, right? Is it real or not? So we should just respect, bow down to the people, do our sadhana and service. So this is coming from Narsimha Puran. Very nice. Today Narsimha Dev, and this is coming from Narsimha Puran. A person who is dedicated completely to the Lord may show externally serious contamination, but internally he is pure. The full moon, though marked by the figure of a rabbit, is never overcome by darkness. Very nice analogy comparison with the moon, right? A person may show serious contamination. This means that it is seen externally that he performs forbidden activities. However, he shines with internal bhakti, which cannot be defeated by anyone. A particular case, the moon is introduced to support the general principle. This is called Arthantara, Arthantara, Arthantara Nyayasha. In the Hari Vamsa, it is said, Loka Chaya Mayam Lakshma Twan Tav Anka Tav Anke Sash Samajitam. The dark spot on the moon is called a rabbit. Though there is a fault in the beauty of the moon, that fault is only superficial. 61. Rati is naturally and eternally unstable because of its continuous, ever increasing desire for pleasing the Lord, and it is full of bliss, manifesting this instability in the form of a variety of sanchari bhava. It is tastier than millions of, right? So sanchari bhava. So this experience one is having, right? It is real experience. Okay, so Rati is naturally and eternally unstable. So it's unstable. There's no doubt about it. But because of its continuous, ever increasing desire for pleasing the Lord, and it is full of bliss, manifesting this instability in the form of a variety of sanchari bhava, it is tastier than millions of moons. So even like if this is not continuous, if somebody is having this rati, like it comes and goes, okay, I want to achieve I want to please the Lord, and it's not continuous, this is sanchari bhava, right? And it's tastier than millions of moons. Rati is described as unstable by nature due to ever increasing desire for the Lord, and this state is without beginning or continuous. Rati is also described as Ananda because it is full of joy. Thus, Rati is characterized by continuous instability and very strong bliss. Ushmanam is in the second line refers to the various Sanchari Bhava or Vavichari Bhava, which causes that instability. Okay, so this is the third section. So we completed up to 61. That was the third section. Bhava section has been completed. So any question?
Prabhu, if a va-bhakta is he expressing, or if he is committing any mistakes, is there is he really committing mistakes, or the perception of ours is wrong?
It can be both, Mataji. Okay, so ideally we always we should look that it is we don't have the vision, right? We don't have a vision, and I am coming from the very different perspective, right? So that should be our the first understanding, right? If I'm getting that feeling, we should always look inward. The second is, let's say that devotee is really the person who is seeing that is exalted, even and exalted means that let's say um, you are observing the other person, right? And you are at a stage that you think that no, that uttama bhakta, the other one who is showing the bhava, that whatever he or she is doing is not correct, right? At that time also, then we should think that that is just his fault, right? Which is little anartha, which is showing that doesn't diminishes his real bhakti. And I'll give an example. There are bhaktas who are very arrogant from outside, right? When you talk to them, they are very to the point. Prabhu, you are not behaving properly. This is not the sign. This is not how you do bhakti. They are not, they don't seem to be very respectful to you, right? But what they are saying is probably true because I'm not being respectful. But he could have said in a good way, right? In a way, it seems that he is offending me or he doesn't care. But when you see his sadhana, it's very strict sadhana, right? And then and that person is showing all the symptom of bhava also. Okay, so those external symptoms we should definitely we should ignore. That is so net is we should ignore. Your question whether can it be my perception issue also? Yes, it can be.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So I am at Urmila Mataji's deck, and I will go into chapter 18, and we will do the summary of that. Okay. So this important chapter examines the characteristic of a person who has developed ecstatic love. By studying them carefully, one will understand the difference between the ecstatic love of a genuine devotee and the so-called ecstatic symptom of a pretender. Okay, that's the summary. That's the chapter summary chapter. So it gives the discrimination and the tools to do that. Qualities. Bhava is spiritual and independent of matter, but manifest at this time in the body of the devotee so that he can experience the spiritual world. It appears through the mental function and replaces the mind. Though self manifesting, it appears to arise by the mind, though it does not. Bhava is a taste for Krishna, but it also produces more taste for Krishna and ecstatic symptoms. Wow, it is full of it is a real very good summary qualities, right? So and this will only make sense if we remember what we have gone through. So I will read from the bottom, right? What is the bhava? Bhava means is a taste for Krishna. So when we say it's a ray of love for Krishna, it's a taste. Like so, it is beyond asakti, right? It's beyond ashakti. So there is a real taste for Krishna, but it also produces more taste for Krishna and ecstatic symptoms. So there are so with the bhava there are quality and symptoms, which is so that is the last two line what is talking about. Then look, read from the top. Bhava is spiritual and independent. So bhava platform is beyond the matter. And why? Because it is Suddha Sattva state, right? Suddha Sattva only happens above the three modes of nature. Okay, so it is beyond matter. So that's first part sentence. But manifest at this time in the body of the devotee. What is manifesting in the part of the body of the devotee? It means that I may have some anarthas left or might have some external behavior issues due to my impressions and which is manifesting through this body. I might be taking my finger and putting my nose and doing this and then I'm touching something, maybe my bead, right? And people say, what this person is doing, right? So that's a just a my habit, right? So that a third part so that he can experience the spiritual world. So that is clear, right? So because all the ecstatic symptoms are happening within this body, so one is experiencing the spiritual world, that is the experience of the bliss. Okay, it appears through the mental function and replaces the mind. So it replaces it. So here mind and the mental functions are distinguished, right? So this is, and I will say that it is antakarna. There is a word is used in Sanskrit. It is used in Bhagavatam also, antakarna. And antakarna means mind, heart, intelligence. All these things are combined together, right? So this is like some is a combination of subtle and material together, right? Which is allowing us to connect to the Lord through the my antakarna, right? So that's what it seems Mataji is trying to say, that it appears through the mental functions. This is my interpretation, okay? I could be wrong, but this is how I'm reading. It appears through the mental functions and replaces the mind. Though self-manifesting, it appears to arise by the mind, though it does not. So because mind always play the game, right? So it will show that, oh, I am showing all this symptoms, I must be at the bhava stage. Or mind can be real, my friend, and saying that no, 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 you are an idiot, right? This is not it is. You are wrong. You should just focus on a sadhana. So mind can do anything, right? So but in this case, there is a distinguishing factor that it is not coming from the mind. This is really coming from the antakarna, right? So it is, that's the reason why. So now we read with that understanding these two lines. It appears through the mental function and replaces the mind. So that antakarna is replacing my mind. Mind was just playing the devil's advocate, right, here and there. But antakarna, this is a real feeling. And though self-manifesting, it appears to arise by the mind, though it does not. So it is not a mind function. It is the antakarna function. I think that may. Yeah. Is that sense, or by over analyzing I am confusing you further?
So is that antahkarana means self-revealing, Prabhu, or is it different?
Ant so no Mata, Antkarna is not self-revealing. It will Antkarna is the feeling one get, right? It's coming Antkarna, right? It's the voice from the inside. And that voice from inside is the combination of three things, at least what I can recollect right now, Mataji. Okay, this is not something I was thinking I will speak. So, but while I'm talking, I'm trying to speak from my memory, which is very flaky. So it is the heart, right? So heart speaks, heart is speaking, and there can be a combination of mind and intelligence, and maybe there was something more also, but it is the combination of these things that is antkarna. So we say that, oh, I'm having this ecstatic feeling, right? Where the ecstatic feeling is coming from, that is not the function of the mind, because that is at a subtle level, right? It is material, right? But it is coming from the heart. It is the affection, the love, right? So that is what called antkarna, right? The feeling from the inside, that is antkarna. So, and I'm comparing with this sentence. It appears through the mental function. So you think, what is this mental function? So that's what I'm trying to analyze here, Mataji. What is that? What Urmila Mata is talking here as a mental function, and that's what I think she's talking about, the antkarna. That's my guess.
It is a pure state of mind which is not diluted with the three modes, maybe. And I think antakarna is also maybe the thoughts coming from the soul, invoking to the pure state of mind and not diluted with uh, the material desires.
Okay, now Prabhu, you said that. I think I have a better explanation of this.
Yeah.
So this is the mind with the Suddha Sattva. So I think, okay, now this is a good connection. Okay, we read that how in the Goswami's explanation, it's saying that when the Suddha Sattva comes, it goes on top of the mind, and it seems that it replaces the mind. Do you remember that discussion? We talked about that also a little bit. It was 2 class before. And
Yes,
that's
Prabhu.
what yes, and that's what is being talked about. So this is the Suddha Sattva state, which is coming on top of the mind, and it's replacing my materialistic mind with the Suddha mind. That's okay. So that's what that makes more sense, and definitely it's a antakarna. We can say that, but let's not bring that, because that's the concept. Then we have to go to the citation and see what the antakarna really means. So I will ignore what I said about the antakarna, rather focus on what we have read, which is the Suddha Sattva state of the mind. Thank you, Nitin Prabhu. When you said that, that triggered.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. Very excellent.
Yeah. So reliable symptom of bhava bhakti. One can neither imitate nor conceal those symptoms. So we know that is imitating will work for us, right? We will get caught up, but to a suddha, to a pure devotee, they will know that who is imitating. So and here are the 9 symptoms which is talked about. So it's again the summary. Never wasting time, but always engage in devotional service. To remain tolerant and patient even amid great disturbance. Indifference to object of sense gratification. Oh, so here is the summary. And pridelessness. Firm faith that Krishna will deliver one to the highest perfection, even though one feels low and utterly unqualified to achieve it on his own. Eagerness for achieving pure loving service. Constant attraction to chanting Hare Krishna. Addiction to glorifying Krishna's qualities. And attachment for living in the Dham. Okay. So the prime example of that was Srila Prabhupada, also Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So how they utilize the time. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, can anybody tell the line which we hear a lot, that how he exemplified not wasting time, line or whatever the story. Or in other words, do you know about the story about Bhakti Vinod Thakur, how he exemplified the time? Yes, no? Okay, so I'll silence. I think that probably I can say quickly say that. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, it is said that his time was so formed up that when he would go to his office, he was a judge in the High Court in Calcutta. So when he goes to the office, people can watch their time, watch and put it correct time. It's like to the minute he leaves, right? So 10 he leaves for his office. 1:30 he's back. Take rest for an hour. Again go to the office. Again work. Come by evening, and then he will uh, probably take a nap. And I'm forgetting here. Okay, take a nap or have some prasad and take a nap, something like that. And then in the night, throughout the night, he will be writing. And then again he will sleep for 2 hours. In the morning he'll again he will get up, do his sadhana. So very strict regime. Like if people can just everything was just timed, not wasting a single moment of time. And that's the reason he has written 100 plus books and poems. Like amazing the amount of work Bhakti Vinod Thakur has done, right? And he brought the Krishna conscious back into the fold. Basically, he brought the Krishna conscious back into the fold, because after our Goswami left, it all got corrupted, right? So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, like, he did it. And then of course our Prabhupada, right? At age 70, in spite of having all this difficulty and all, how like he was so strict, right? Like even when he was leaving, I'm reading these days the elaborate uh, Prabhupada Leela Amrita, and I'm trying to read actually because I'm reading very slowly. So it, how like even though he's staying in a place which is not conducive, he will be very timed. Like he will be giving the lecture at 6, where anybody comes, not comes, he's speaking to the walls, right? Doesn't really matter. He will cook, he will feed, he will go for a walk. And we know that Prabhupada's like, even till he left this planet, right? He was so strict about his very disciplined, right? So those are both the story has been cited by Mataji. Uh, okay, perseverance. Example given is of Maharaj Parikshit waiting for death on the banks of the Ganges. So this is the example. Detachment example is given is of the Maharaj Bharat giving up his family. So he was all opulent, everything, right? Very nice, beautiful wife, very nice children, but still he left his all everything behind. That's called detachment. And then of course there's a then the story. It's a very nice story, right? How then the story, then he got attached to the deer, and then he was born as a deer, and then he came as Jad Bharat, right? So so it's very nice story. Detachment to attachment, and attachment to back to detachment, right? So just Lords give these instances, and these are real stories, to teach us, right? Bharat Maharaj is is an exalted soul, is an exalted soul, right? So he wouldn't have got attached to a deer, and as a deer he would remember. It is all due to the Lord's mercy which has happened, right? But it is there for us to learn from it, not minimized, Bharat Maharaj. So there are two types of detachment: vairagya and virakti. Okay, vairagya and virakti. Um, Before once one achieves the stage of bhava, he may be able to manifest vairagya. He can keep himself forcibly separated from the objects of sense gratification and thus control his senses. At the stage of bhava, however, one manifests a superior type of detachment. This superior detachment is virakti, wherein one completely loses all taste for the object of the senses. Thus, his senses remain entirely controlled, even if he is directly in the midst of sense of objects. Pridelessness. King Bhagirath was the emperor above all other kings, yet he developed such ecstatic love for Krishna that he became a mendicant and went out begging even to the homes of his political enemies and untouchables. He was so humble that he respectfully bowed down before them. That's the pridelessness. Wow. Great hope. I have no love for Krishna, nor for the causes of developing love of Krishna, namely hearing and chanting, and the process of bhakti yoga, by which one is always thinking of Krishna and fixing. His lotus feet in the heart is also lacking in me. As far as philosophical knowledge or pious works are concerned, I don't see any opportunity for me to execute such activities. But above all, I am not even born of a nice family. Therefore, I must simply pray to you, Gopi Jana Ballava, Krishna, maintainer and beloved of the gopis. I simply wish and hope that some way or other I may be able to approach your lotus feet, and this hope is giving me pain because I think myself quite incompetent to approach that transcendental goal of life. So Mataji is quoting from somewhere. What she is trying to exemplify here? The concept
Uh,
which we studied today. Yeah.
I'm not worthy of anything, but I still believe that Krishna will be so merciful that he will save me.
Yes, this is the example we are saying, that even when we don't have the association, Lord's mercy. Lord mercy is always going to protect me. Yes, Mataji, you are absolutely right. Eagerness for achieving the desired success. Okay, so okay, this is Bilva Mangal Thakur. In his book Krishna Karnamrita, he says, I am eagerly waiting to see that boy of Vrindavan, whose bodily beauty is captivating the whole universe, whose eyes are always bounded by black eyebrows and expanded like lotus petals, and who is always eagerly glancing over his devotees, and therefore moving slightly here and there. His eyes are always moist, his lips are colored like copper, and through those lips there comes a sound vibration which drives one madder than a mad elephant. I want so much to see him at Vrindavan. You know, Bilva Mangal Thakur was, he couldn't see, right? The story, he took out his own eyes because he saw a woman and he had a desire, so he just hated himself. So, so that's the wonderful prayer from Bilva Mangal Thakur, right? And that shows the eagerness, attachment to chanting the holy names. O Lord Govinda, the girl who is daughter of King Vrishabhanu, is now shedding tears and she is anxiously chanting your holy name, Krishna, Krishna. So that is the attachment, very high level of attachment which is being talked about. An eagerness to describe the glories of the Lord. Again, from Bilva Mangal Thakur, Krishna Karnamrita, what shall I do for Krishna, who is pleasing beyond all pleasurable conception, and who is naughtier than all restless boys? The idea of Krishna's beautiful activities is attracting my heart, and I do not know what I can do. So Mataji has taken the pain to go to all these different books and she's citing these things for us. It's very nice. Eagerness to describe the glories of the Lord and attraction for living in a place of the Lord's pastime. Padyavali, from the Padyavali basically. In this place, the son of Maharaj Nanda used to live with his father, who was king of all cowherd men. In this place, Lord Krishna broke the cart in which the Saktasura demon was concealed. At this place, Damodara, who can cut the knot of our material existence, was tied up by his mother Yashoda. So that's the kind of feeling that one has, that, oh, this is the place I want to live, right? So Prabhupada was in America here, but his heart always longed for Vrindavan, right? And then he created the Vrindavan here, right? Still, he's so attached to Vrindavan, whether he is here or there, attached to Vrindavan, doing the Lord service. What about seeming ecstatic symptom that appears in non-devotees or beginners? So this is the chaya abhas or reflection. So this is reflection. Reflective ecstasy can appear in someone who approaches the Lord with ulterior motive, as in wanting liberation. Reflective ecstasy, simply by the association of such pure devotee, the moon-like rays from their hearts reflect on him, and by the influence of the pure devotees, he may show some likeness of attachment. What about seemingly ecstatic symptom that appears in non-devotee or beginners? So this is about the shadow, chaya. Shadow ecstasy can appear in someone who is more innocent, doing service out of curiosity or for social reasons. Such shadow attachment or para attachment can develop if one associate with a pure devotee visits holy places like Vrindavan or Mathura. What about seeming ecstatic symptom that appears in non-devotee or beginners? Both come from the mature ecstasy of a pure devotee. Reflective ecstasy is more intense, like a reflection is more bright and clear than a shadow, but shadow ecstasy is termed transcendental when the person feels some relief from material pangs and desires. What about seeming ecstatic symptoms that appear in non-devotees or beginners? Oh, same said. Just as shadow or reflective ecstasy comes from association with pure devotees, so by an offense to the devotees, one's attachment can become almost nil. Real bhava in the beginner, if it is seen that a person has developed a high standard of devotion without having undergone even the regulative principle, it is to be understood that his status of devotional service, which was achieved in a former life, for some reason or another, it had been temporarily stopped, most probably by an offense committed at the lotus feet of a devotee. Even at the stage of bhava, a person may apparently have some faults that are the last remaining traces of sinful reactions. Such should be overlooked as one ignores the spot on the moon. Okay, so that's ends the summary. The chapter is the fourth wave. Okay, that goes into the Prema section. Okay, chapter 9. So we'll stop here. Sorry, I went 9 minutes over. Uh, so So we have completed chapter 19. I think next time, sorry, 18. So next time, most probably, I'll start the Prema section unless I find something which I missed. Okay. So any question, any thoughts? Is the Bhava, when we started, I know that this is the fourth class, right? The first class, everybody was a bit confused that, oh, what is Bhava? So does it make sense? Now we have a better grasp of what Bhava is.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Vidyasagar Prabhu, Gayatri Mataji, does the Bhava section make sense now a little bit? Okay, okay, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Prabhu. Means once you maybe read the book, maybe it will help you a little bit more. So read Nectar of Devotion or the Waves of Devotion. Okay, okay, Prabhuji. All right. So I'll end the recording at this point of time. Um,